Hi, and welcome to your Frontal Lobe Week 2 class. What separates us as humans, one of the things that separates us as humans, is the size of our frontal lobe compared to the rest of the brain. It's pretty huge, and it lives here, and it's in charge of our personality, our mood, our focus, our concentration, our short-term memory, and our executive decisions, pretty much everything. Everything comes from our frontal lobe. The way we're going to stimulate it in this class is by challenging our short-term memory with some short sequences that challenge you to remember the sequences of the movements in a row. We're also going to be working with tempo and trying out different speeds of movement and seeing if you're able to stick to a beat or synchronize with me at the same time. And this will all make the neurons in your frontal lobe have a little bit of a party. So let's go ahead and start. Okay, so we're going to start with a sequencing warm-up, which means we're going to build move on top of move on top of move, and then you've got to challenge yourself by seeing if you can remember these moves. So let's go ahead and start with our feet hip distance apart, and we're just going to start by rising up onto the big toes of our foot, reaching the arms to shoulder height, and then slowly come back down again. So think of the weight mostly going on the big toe side of your foot as you rise up, and then slowly come back down again. Think of your posture and all the usual Pilates principles here. Tall spine without tension. Reach up. Think of your center core muscles as you open your arms out to the side now. Bring them back to the front and then slowly come down. And again, reach up, open out to the side, bring it back to the front, and then lower. It's quite difficult to balance on these squidgy mats, but really thinking of the weight on the big toe helps. Reach, open the arms out to the side, bring it back to the front, and then release. The next move we're going to do are some squats, some chair squats. So sit on a chair behind you. Imagine you're sitting on a chair behind you, reaching your arms by your ears, and then as you exhale, come up to standing. And then again, inhale, we come down, and then exhale, reach up. Try and really keep your trunk angle parallel to your shin angle as you go into the squat. So sitting on the chair behind you, reaching the arms by your ears, and then exhale to come back. Think of driving your knees forward as your hips go back, and then exhale to come all the way up again. Reach and return. Good. So now we're going to bend the right leg and balance, and then straighten the right leg out in front, and then bend the right leg. I'm mirroring you. Reach your right leg back as you reach your arms forward into this sort of stork stance. And then go ahead and come back up to standing. So I'll show you sideways, but you stay facing forward. You're going to lift your left leg this time, stretch it out to the front, and then bend it, reach it out to the back in this stork stance, and then slowly come back up. So let's go from the beginning. I'll do it with you first. So we're going to reach up and down. We're going to do each move twice. We're going to lift again and lower. Now we're going to lift, open, close, lower, lift, open, keep your center muscles strong, forward, lower. Now we do 2 chair squats. Inhale to come down, exhale to come up. And again, inhale, exhale, we come back up. Now the right leg bends, stretch it out to the front, bend it to reach it to the back. And here, bend the stance leg a little bit. Then come back up to standing. Let's do the other side. Bend, reach it out to the front, bend, reach the left leg back, hold, and then come back to center. We're going to add to this routine now. So after we got to the stork stance, we're going to do two standing squats, 1 and 2. And then we're going to reach to the diagonal with the arm and the leg, bring the feet together, circle the arms all the way around and hold it in the center and slowly roll back up again. Let's try it on the other leg. Let's go from the beginning of the lift of the leg actually. Lift your left leg, reach it out to the screen. Bend your left leg, reach it back, and bend your stance leg slightly. From here, do 2 standing squats. 1 and again, 2, and then go off to the side diagonal. Bring the legs together, circle away and center, hold it in the forward bend, and then roll up 1 vertebra at a time. And now let's go from the beginning. We go up on the tiptoes and lower. Remember, everything is twice except that single leg movement. Reach forward and then lower. And now we're going to reach forward. Stay strong in your center as you open, and then come forward and down. 2 of these. So 1 more. Lift. See if you can think already of what the next move is before I do it. Now we go to this 2 squats. Ready? Did you think of that? Inhale, exhale to come back up. Think about the next move. What's after the squats? And then lift. Okay, right leg lifts. Did you get that right? Stretch. Bend. Reach the right leg back. 2 standing squats on the stance leg. 1 on the left leg. And 2. Reach for the diagonal. Hold. And then take the arms up and over, feet together, go all the way around to the center and roll up. This bit will be much easier if you're mirroring me. I'm mirroring you. Left leg lifts, stretch it out to the front, bend, reach your left leg back, your arms go forward. Do 2 standing squats. 1 and 2. Go to the diagonal, bring your feet together, circle all the way around and down center, and then roll back up again. Lovely. Okay, one last time I'm going to do it with you, but silently. I'm not going to say anything. And I'd like you to turn away from the screen and try and see if you can remember putting this whole routine together without, and if you get lost completely, just take a look at the screen again. But I'm going to do it in silence. Okay, I'm done. Did you find that you finished a lot quicker than me? Sometimes when we're in a rush to try and memorize things, we do it faster before it leaves our short-term memory. So notice if you did it too quickly. Notice if you struggled and you had to look at the screen a little bit, in which case, if it was too easy, maybe we need to make things a little bit. We will do it over the rest of the program, the rest of the 6 weeks. We will do more complicated sequences in your frontal lobe class. So that's your warm-up, and now let's go ahead and roll down to a plank position. So standing at the back of the mat now, you're going to roll down. Walk your hands out to a plank position, and if you don't feel strong enough to do this, feel free to keep your knees down. Hold it here, and switch your eye focus from your right hand to your left hand, right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand, 10 times. Or actually just keep going until I say to stop. Keep saccading your eyes. That's a fast switch from the right hand to the left hand. This will activate the neurons in your frontal lobe. And relax. Well done. Child's pose. Take a brief rest here. And then roll up and swing your legs round to the front. Great stuff. We're going to sit to the front of the mat, and we're going to roll down on our back. Good. And while you're lying down here, just do a few pelvic tilts like we always do when we lie down on our back, just to find a neutral spine. So imagine again, cup of tea is on the top of your pelvis. Spill the tea over your tummy. I have no idea why it's always a tea. Could be any drink. Spill it and then settle it. Spill it and then settle it. And then continue rolling all the way up, standing in your feet, coming up into a a bridge position. And then hold it here in the bridge position. And I just want you to try and activate the muscles in the backs of your thighs and in your gluteals. And try and actively make them contract. So even if this feels easy for you, think about dragging the mat with your heels as if you're going to do a hamstring curl, and you're going to pull your heels to your bottom, like that machine in the gym, the hamstring curl machine. Imagine you're going to pull your heels to your bottom, and you should automatically feel them switch on. And we're holding here for about a minute, just breathing calmly, breathing slowly. And often when we strengthen these muscles, it takes the pressure off the lower back. So if you're doing this as part of a rehab program for your lower back, then this can help. Take a nice big inhale and then relax your bottom as you roll down one vertebra at a time. Rest. This time bring your feet together, knees ever so slightly open. And then again, we're going to roll up to that same bridge position. Hold it. And again, think about pulling your heels towards your bottom, actively engaging your glutes and hamstrings. Hold, 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 hold. Really notice if the right side maybe is more connected with your brain than the left. And then try and consciously bring more awareness to your left. You'll notice with the knees open and the feet together that you're activating slightly different fibers of these muscles, of the glutes and the hamstrings. Take a nice big inhale here again, and then exhale, roll down through the spine. Separate your feet hip distance apart again, and as you exhale, roll up to the bridge. We've got one more. You can repeat what we just did, or you can challenge yourself a little bit further by pressing strongly into your left foot, springing your right leg up to tabletop to 90 degrees. Here you're going to want to shorten your right waist. Keep your right waist long and just hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. If you're doing this properly, your left glute and hamstring should be on fire. Take it down. Press down strongly into the right foot now so that the left leg feels light. Hold it. Keep your left waist long and your left hip lifted. Keep saying to yourself, left waist long, left hip lifted. Left waist long, left hip lifted. Hold, hold, hold. This one now should be on fire, the glute and hamstring. Take it down. Take a nice big inhale at the top, and then exhale. Roll down vertebra by vertebra and release your spine back to a neutral position. Great. So next we're going to go into the one-leg circle. We're going to do a nice smooth circle first, and then we're going to do it, hopefully still a smooth circle, but with different speeds. So take your right leg up towards the ceiling, and the left leg could be stretched or bent. It's up to you. Put your hands now on your two hip bones, and imagine you've got a drink on each side. And start to circle the leg round, focusing on really disassociating your leg from your pelvis, so that whatever the leg is doing, the two drinks here are not spilling. They're stable. If they're spilling and you can't control it, make your circle smaller and move the legs slower. Change direction. This is also working on your active flexibility of the hamstrings. So you're actively stretching your hamstrings by making your quadricep work. So it's okay to feel some work here. And then change. Left leg reaches up, circle. Keep the drinks nice and steady here. People always feel uncomfortable with the quadricep or the hip flexors working, or the way they feel makes them a little bit uncomfortable. Remember that the flexibility only comes from the opposite muscle getting stronger. Change direction. Make sure to cross the midline of your body as well. And relax. So now we're going to do a second set, but challenging the tempo of this, because often in Pilates we're very, very stable with our drinks when we're doing slow tempo, and then we speed it up and the drinks fall all over the place. So I'm going to give you a count. When I say 1, you're going to bring the leg towards your face. When I say 2, you're going to take the leg away from your face. Ready? So we go 1, 2, and I'm going to change the tempos. Yeah, 1, 2. We should be perfectly synchronized, by the way. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. You still with me? 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. A, were you synchronized with me? And did your drink spill? Let's change the direction. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Relax. So you notice this leg kept moving as well on my, I was trying really hard to control it. But that's the sort of thing you want to feel. You want to feel like you're a statue apart from the gesture leg. Let's try the other leg. So again, 1 goes towards the face, 2 away from the face. Slowly first. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Change direction. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Relax. Rest. Okay. Spill the cup of tea over your tummy slightly. Lift your legs. We're going to do one more set of the 1-2s, this time with a bit of fatigue. Notice how when you are tired and you're doing something effortful, it kind of hijacks your frontal lobe and you're not able to access cognition anymore. So I just want you to feel that. Keep the lower back somewhat pressed into the ground as you straighten one leg as low as you're able to take it, where your back doesn't arch off the mat. And then we go 1 towards the face, 2 down. 1, 2. This is pretty advanced, so if it's too much, just take your foot down. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Change direction. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Relax. You should have felt strong connection in your abdominals here. Take your left leg up. Other leg reaches as low as you're comfortable, where you can keep your lower back pressing into the ground. 1 towards your face, 2 away from you. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Change direction. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Relax. Take your legs down, rest. And then just take your arms out and swing your knees to one side, swing your knees to the opposite side, and ease that tension off from your hip flexors. That's the reason why we did the glutes and hamstring exercise to start, those bridges, was to counter all the tension that we're going to start building up here now in the quads. And relax. And go ahead, take your hands behind your head. Shuffle out just a little bit and do some curl-ups. As you exhale, curl up. Keep a tomato underneath your chin. Inhale to relax back down again. Exhale to curl up. Inhale to lengthen back down again. So really feel here, like instead of shortening the front of your body, feel like you're lengthening and opening the back line of your body. And now, as you exhale, on the next one, you're going to think of your left rib going towards your right hip bone into a table position like this, and then rest back down again. And then the right rib going towards the left hip bone, and then back down again. So keep your elbows open if you can in this exercise. We're doing an abdominal sequence here that's going to build up and up and up. And I want you to try and register the sequence of these movements. And as you can guess, at the end of this, I'm going to ask you to do it on your own and see if you remember the sequence. One more. And relax. Then hug your right knee into your chest. and stretch your left leg along the floor for the one leg stretch. Feel the two-way stretch pull, your right knee coming towards you, your left leg reaching away. And when you're ready, hover the left leg above the ground. Slide your shoulders down, lift your head towards your knee, and then switch as you pull one leg towards you, one leg away from you. And switch again. And switch. And switch. Switch. If you want to, you can take your head and shoulders to the floor for sure. If your neck is feeling a bit uncomfortable. One more time on each side. And relax. All right? Next thing we're going to do is we're going to do crisscross. So take the hands behind the head. Lift your legs up to a table position, keeping your spine neutral. Lift your head and shoulders off the floor. And as you exhale, twist opposite elbow towards opposite knee, but keep your elbow open. So see how close can you get your elbow to your knee while your elbows are open. And then switch. And switch. You want a nice deep rotation in your waist. And 5 more. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. So just as a reminder of the sequence we've just done, when we come to put it all together, let's do it all together actually. Do it with me. We're going to do 2 of each move. So curl up plane, 1, release, 2. Still exhaling on the way up. Twist this time. 1 and 2. One leg stretch. 1 and 2. Crisscross. 1 and 2. And rest. Of course, we're still going to add to this sequence. Okay? So let's add a little bit to it, and then we'll put it all together, but you can see where we're going with it, right? So after we finish crisscross, we're going to hug the knees into the chest, and then we're just going to send our arms overhead as we stretch our legs up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to hug the legs back in, like that. So we're going to reach the arms back, reach the legs up, and if you feel a little bit more energetic, you can lower the legs a bit. But watch that your abdominals don't dome or pop upwards. So keep the nice gentle scoop of your abdominals and then slowly hug the legs back in again. Exhale, reach, and then hug them in. The bra strap or the mid-back stays on the ground throughout. Let's do 3 more. Exhale, reach, lower. Exhale, reach, and lower. So that's a kind of modified double leg stretch. And then we're going to go into scissors next. So straighten your legs towards the ceiling. Curl up with the head and shoulders, again, only if your neck allows. And scissor the leg. One comes towards you, one comes down. And then switch. And switch. You can challenge your flexibility here by actively not pulling your leg and actively use your opposing muscle. This makes it a little bit more advanced though. And that's why I'm silent and relaxed. Okay, after the scissors, you're going to, from here, you're just going to roll and rock and turn this into rolling like a ball. Let's do a little bit of rolling like a ball, and then we'll do the sequencing. So rolling like a ball, keep the hands under the thighs first, just to see if your spine is comfortable with these rolls. Not all spines are. Some of our spines are a little bit hollow back, or lordosis, we call it. It tends to slam into the mat. So if you're one of those people, then just use this as a way to come up to sitting with one leg, and then that will be the end of your routine. And then, or you can just rock off your sitting bones here, just trying to get the lower back to curve a little bit, yeah? For those of you who are doing this and still want to work your core further, open your knees slightly, glue your elbows to your knees, and try and keep that lock position. That will ensure that you're working in your core. Do about 5 more if you can of the rolling. And then when you're finished, you rest. I stopped sooner, but I'm talking. I've got an excuse. Right. Ready? Now, first one I'm going to do with you, talking. Second round, you're on your own, and I'm just doing the movements. Ready? We're curling up. Try and think of the next move before I say what it is. 2. Now, what's the next one? Yes, the oblique curls. 1 and 2. What's the next one? Think about it. And 1, single leg stretch, and 2. What's the next one? Think about it. Crisscross. 1 and 2. What's the next one? Think about it. Double leg. Reach. 1 and 2. What's the next one? Scissors. And 1 and 2. And rolling. 1 and 2. And we're up. See if you can remember that without me saying anything. I'll do it anyway, in case you need to look at the screen. And we're done. So did you manage to follow without looking at the screen? Remember, this class is about all of these classes are about getting to know your brain, getting to know what your weak areas of the brain are, with no judgment. Just think about it as, okay, I'm not very good at sequencing. I'm going to work on that. So we're just exploring together. So next, we're going to lay down on the side. So I'm going to lay down on the left side. You can, let's both do the same side. So if you can lay down on your left side also, just so when I say right and left, it's not confusing. And we're going to reach the right leg nice and long and away. So think of reaching your top hip away. Think about space underneath your waist here. And we're going to imagine we've got a drink right here on the top of our pelvis. And when you're here, I'd like you to just rotate your leg out in the socket and rotate your leg in the socket. So you can flex or point or keep your foot floppy if you like. Maybe floppy is better, just so the brain's attention all comes here. I tend to always point my toes just because my background used to be synchronized swimming. But it's not something that we want to do here because it will take attention away from the hip. So really feel that the leg is separate to the pelvis here. Can you feel the leg goes in, the leg rolls out? The pelvis doesn't need to change. Your pelvis, if you're not quite sure what it is, it's like your swimsuit bottom or your underwear. There's a bone right there. That's your pelvis. Now, turn your leg out and bend the knee ever so slightly so it's comfortable. Well, nothing about this is comfortable, actually. And you're just going to take your leg forward slightly, and you'll notice you're only able to go a little bit, and then you're going to go backward slightly. And you're going to take it forward and backward, and you'll feel the deep glute muscles working here, your hip flexors, a little bit of your sartorius muscle working as well. It's pretty intense when you're doing this correctly. Pretty intense, yeah. Exhale to come. Let's go inhale forward, exhale back. Inhale forward, keeping that top waist long, keeping the bottom waist lifted. Exhale back. One more time. Inhale forward, exhale back. Hold it in the middle. Stretch long. And now that you're fatigued, we go 1 up, 2 is down. Ready? 1, 2. See if you can keep the drink stable. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Change direction. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Same thing, but with that leg bent and floppy and turned out. Ready? 1, circle, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh, that's intense. Change direction. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Relax. Well done. And I bet your glutes is as numb as mine is right now. Let's go ahead and lay on our back, actually. Take that same right leg across the body, across the other leg, and just give it a little bit of a stretch by sending the knees over to the left side. And then slowly, let's come up to do the other side. So go ahead and swing your legs over to the opposite side. We're going to do the movement separately first. So think about lengthening your top waist, lifting through your bottom waist, soften your leg a little, bend it, turn it out, and then slowly take your leg forward and slowly take your leg back. Slowly take your leg forward, keeping that turn out, and then slowly take it back. Keep the feeling of lifting through the bottom waist and lengthening through your top waist. And you want to really feel that deep rotation in your leg, but without spilling the hips. So if you're turning everything out, if you're spilling the hips, then you're not getting an isolated turnout in your actual hip joint. You're just rocking your pelvis back, which is a completely different thing. Now straighten the leg and energize it. And we're going 1 at the top, 2 at the bottom. I'll start slow so you can really focus on the stability of the drink. We go 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Change direction. 1, 2. Really slowly again. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Can you still keep that drink stable even with the fast counts? Now let's bend the knee slightly, turn the leg out, keep the leg floppy, and we go 1 as a whole up, 2 down. 1, 2. Keep the pelvis out of it, out of the picture altogether. 1, 2. The circle has to be quite small and specific. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Change direction. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Hang in there, hang in there. 2, 1, 2, 1. Relax, relax. Well done. Lay on your back, cross your leg over. That left leg goes over the right, and then send your legs over to the right just to give the glute a little bit of a stretch. In fact, let's take it into a little bit more of a stretch. If you come on all fours and just take the right leg across the knee, slide your left leg back and go into what they call pigeon in yoga. And you should feel a stretch in your bottom here or in your inner thighs. And then we switch. Left leg goes across, right leg back. In my classes, people used to always tell me that they used to feel their inner thighs in this and groin area in this stretch, and I never quite got it because for me it was always very gluteal. And I had a baby 6 months ago, and now I totally get what they're talking about. I think after the birth, the inner thighs the adductors or the inner thighs get really, really tight, and then you feel it. And relax and lay on your stomach actually from here. Just go straight onto your tummy. And we're going to do a sequence. This is the last bit of work we're going to do a sequence also for so we're going to do a set of separate exercises for the back extensors, and then we're going to put it all together and you challenge your sequencing. So go ahead and take your shoulders away from the ears first. Take your hands just outside your mat and lift your chest. So we're just doing plain back extensions. Exhale to lower. As you do these, make sure the back of the neck is long with no wrinkles. So you're not doing this. You're keeping the back of the neck long and then you're lowering. Shoulders away from the ears, lift, and then lower. Now if you like, you can hover the arms above the ground. So they're coming up with you. Breathing in, extension. Again, let the inhale lift you, and as you exhale to lower. Now let's take it a bit further. We're going to come up. We're going to stretch the arms to the front, and then we're going to bend them back. Stretch them to the front. Bend them again. Stretch them to the front. You should feel your mid-back postural muscles working as you do this. Keep your toes pushing down into the floor so the legs don't lift at all. So most of us, the mid-back is weaker than the lower back. And if you lift your legs, you're just going to be working your lower back. Reach, hold, and lower. Okay, so we started. Say we're going to do 2 back extensions with the hands down, 2 back lifts with the hands up, and then 2 arm reaches forward. From there, we're going to go to the dart. So lift, keep a long, long line through the trunk and really open the shoulders as if your collarbones are smiling. And exhale, lower. And again, rotate up as you lift, and then lower. When I said rotate, that didn't make any sense, did it? But I mean rotate your shoulders in their sockets. That's what I was thinking about. Rotate your shoulders outward. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, and then lower. And again, lift into the dart. Think of a long torpedo line. Crown of the head is being pulled forward. Sacrum and toes are being pulled in the opposite direction. One more time, lift. And then lower. Then from here, we're going to go forward with the arms. We're going to lift the legs, and we're going to finish our routine with, let's do, say, 5 counts of this in the middle of the routine just to break things up. When you're doing swimming, we're going to do it properly in the other class. Not to say you're not going to do it properly here, but I just want you to get it going with the arms and the legs. We're trying to really stabilize your back, so you don't want to be all over the place. If you have very stiff shoulders, you may just work the legs and keep the hands on the floor. Because if you think about it, if your shoulders are not flexible, you're just going to be doing this. Yeah? So keep your arms on the floor if you need to. Kick, 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 kick. Energize your legs. A lot of people do this with their knees bent, like they're actually swimming in the pool. Make sure your knees are straight so you can activate your glutes and hamstrings. Hold, and then lower. Let's just recap the routine together. Take your arms back to the W position on the floor. We're doing 2 of each thing. So inhale, extend up. Shoulders away from the ears, and feel like your mid-back is on fire. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Now we lift the arms as well. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. See if you can remember the next move before I say it. Now we go up, stretch forward twice. 1 and 2. Take the arms round for dart. 1 and lift again. 2. Take the arms forward again for swimming for 5 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take your hands under your shoulders, tip your elbows towards the floor, and come into a full swan. And then exhale, lengthen forward. Inhale, full swan. And exhale, lengthen forward. Let's do it all from the beginning. I won't say anything. You look at the screen if you need to. All right? So you've challenged your short-term memory, challenge your sequencing abilities. When you're done, just rest in child's pose. Stretch. That was a lot of work on the back in one go. Take your arms to the diagonal. So if you take your arms to the left, you're stretching your right side. And then if you take your arms to the right, you're stretching the left side a little bit more. So notice any differences in tightness between the right and the left sides. How was that sequencing compared to what you did earlier? Are you getting better at this, or is the fatigue making you forget and lose your short-term memory? Curl your toes, walk your hands to your feet, stretch, and roll up one vertebra at a time. And take a nice big inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale to lower the arms. Now we go to the side reach. Lift your right heel just to allow yourself to go deeper. Stay here as you press your heel back into the ground. Remember, I'm mirroring you. And then release. Then we go to the opposite side, reach. Lift your left heel to allow yourself to go deeper. Press your heel back into the ground. And reach and relax. Well done. So I hope that you didn't reach frustration. Sometimes if we're not very good at this, at sequencing or at tempo, basically if you're not very good at dance and you don't like to go to anything related to dance or dance classes, you might have reached a little bit of frustration. Just remember, everything is a skill and everything can be learned. And with repetition, everything improves. And the more you understand about the brain, the more you realize that nothing about the brain is fixed, everything is changeable, and we do want to work on the weak links. So if you reach the point of frustration, this class is for you. And I'll see you on the next frontal lobe class for week 3.